Welcome to the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast with your hosts, Rob and Randy, who reveal the truth, the lies, and confusion about health so that you are no longer the victim to mainstream medical dogma and you are the hero to your own happy, healthy story.
Welcome back to the Happy Healthy Life Podcast with Rob and Randy.
What is up, guys?
So today we're going to be talking about the solutions to what we talked about on the last episode, episode 13. We talked about the hottest diets out there, the trends, why they work, and then why they all don't work. And so we talked about number one, I think that we got across was if you're going to lose weight, if you're going to keep the weight off, it's got to be about healing your metabolism. Everything's about healing the metabolism. So today we're going to talk about some solutions on how to make sure that you are healing that metabolism. So not only can you lose the weight, but you can keep it off long term. And one of the things we talked about last week is how metabolism really is the beginning of new life inside the body.
Yeah, take people back through that really quickly. I think that's pretty significant. Words matter.
They do. They do.
Yeah.
So when we look at metabolism, most people have been taught that metabolism is all about really making sure that you're burning calories efficiently at a cellular level. So people think about it being, oh, that person burns a lot of calories, or they have a great metabolism. They're either blessed or they're really lucky because they have a good metabolism, but it's related to their size or if they're thin or fit or overweight,
or they just happen to be young. Like it's a privilege of people that are, 21 years old and younger. And like you said, or it's some luck of the draw genetically, which we know, genetics load the gun, but your lifestyle and how you adapt to your environment chemically, physically, and emotionally, that's what pulls the trigger. So really the whole genetic argument, the age thing are really just more excuses, which we know.
Yep.
So yeah, so those are things that if you're relying on those to get you there, then we already know there's no time machine and you can't pick different parents. So let's move away from that and let's focus on what you can focus on. And we talk about this a lot, but I want to go back to that in just a second. But the key is a lot of times in life to get the best results, you got to start asking better questions. And so one of the common mistakes a lot of people make is they start asking about certain products or supplements or protein powders or diets versus going, okay, what is my goal? If it's to lose weight, if it's to get healthy, don't ask, how do I lose weight? Ask, how do I heal my metabolism? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, that really controls what you weigh. Plus, your metabolic function is tied to any and all chronic metabolic diseases such as cancer, heart disease, stroke, diabetes. So it's never about losing weight anyway. How do you get yourself healthy, and healthy metabolic functions at the core of that? So kind of go back through that word, breaking it down. I think you do a good job of that, and it does matter.
Yeah, it does matter because at the core of it, how in the world does metabolic function affect whether or not somebody has heart disease or diabetes or cancer or any of those things?
Yes.
Most people are like, you know what, that doesn't even make sense to me, or it just doesn't compute, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at it this way, it will, guaranteed. So metabolism, or the word broken down as meta, bol, and ism. So meta means change or metamorphosis, right? Transform. And so bol means beginning of life or new life. Ism is a system. So it's the system of transforming into new life. So what we're really doing is whatever it is that's going into your body, whether it's oxygen or water or food, whatever we're putting into our body is now being transformed into new life inside the cell to be used in the body to create new cells or new life or healthier cells. There's something in the body that happens. It's called autophagy. A lot of people have no idea what that is. However, this is all about metabolism, because of autophagy is your body breaking down bad cells, and they're breaking them down for the purpose of using the parts, the good parts, to be able to make new healthy cells, or just getting rid of bad cells and making new stuff.
Yeah, autophagy, basically the body's self-eating, but the body's smart. It's not going to eat the good stuff because it doesn't want to kill you. The one thing you can know about your body, and not to interrupt you, Dr. Rob, but the body is never trying to kill you. It's always trying to heal you. It is hardwired to heal. That's all it knows. So when you think about autophagy, that's just a normal process in the human body where the body gets to renew everything, create new tissue. It can even use pathogenic bacteria to feed the autophagy cycle to create brand new tissue. How amazing is our human body, by the way?
It is. So that right there, that's metabolism.
There you go.
Had nothing to do with a calorie, right?
Yeah.
So calorie is nothing more than a byproduct that happens as a result of this process inside the cell. So what the mitochondria does, it just takes those things, and you've got ATP that gets spit out as a byproduct. That ATP is energy. That energy is what people call a calorie, right? And it's the efficiency as to which your body is actually using that energy. And we know that your body can store that energy as fat. It can store it in protein. It can store it as, it can actually come in the form of carbohydrates or sugars that you're put into the body. And if the body can't actually efficiently take them through the cell, through this metabolism process, then your body's going to store that as fat.
Yeah.
And that's something that we talk about. And here's where it's bad news and you're kind of screwed, is if your body is not a fat burner or burning calories from fat, or your body is not fat adapted, you're going to just continue to keep on storing them and storing them and storing them, which is why we see people come into the office and they've got like 500,000 calories of energy that are being stored in their body fat that aren't even being used. Can you imagine if you could just tap into that? Have that energy? How many moms out there listening would love to be able to have that energy, or just anybody that may feel tired right now as they're listening? Wake up.
Yeah, think about it.
Use that.
If you have no energy, but you have high body fat, that just means you're not able to go get access to all the energy that's on your body, which means there's a metabolic problem, which means you're not fat adapted. Your metabolism isn't flexible. You're more than likely, no doubt about it, insulin resistant, which is a telltale marker for anybody with high body fat, which means your body's inflamed. There's all these factors involved. And even with metabolism, that doesn't even mean that you have a weight problem. For example, when I was diagnosed in July of 2010 with late stage cancer, was I obese?
Not at all.
No, I was probably less than 10% body fat. You would look at me and think that I'm healthy, yet cancer, like all conditions, are metabolic conditions. Cancer cells need certain things to thrive. And so heart disease, cancer, diabetes, Alzheimer's, chronic arthritis, anything you want to name that you don't want, there's a common denominator, and it always has metabolic dysfunction attached to it. Because like you're articulating, everything really happens at that cellular level. Do you have healthy cells or do you have disease cells? Heart disease is a majority of your heart cells that are now in a disease state. So they're not functioning well. They're not getting oxygen, nutrients. They're inflamed, right? Something's off at a cellular level that's not allowing your body to express health. When we start looking at metabolism and the way you describe it, this is not about losing weight. It's about getting your body healthy so you can definitely be in an ideal way, and then also prevent all the chronic inflammatory metabolic conditions, which, as we know now, are running rampant across our country. What, half of America now, I think, is diabetic. Yet we've got all these doctors, all these medications, all this research, all this funding, all these walks, all this awareness, all these cures, or these hope for cures that are right around the corner that we're still waiting on, as the systems are making trillions and trillions of dollars off people that are not healthy and don't know what to do and can't get answers from the trappings that are associated with our current medical system. So metabolism is the name of the game, and I'm excited to dive into this a little deeper.
Let's do it. All right. So solution, the steps. I love steps.
Yeah,
right?
you are a step guy.
Oh, totally. I love steps and systems, right? Just give me the steps, right? Let's make it simple. First step is you got to make sure in your mind that you've made a decision that now is the time to take action, right? Because
absolutely.
If now is not the time to take action, then when is going to be that time, right? When you do have the heart disease, when you step on the scale and you're 200 pounds overweight, I don't know, but one of the things that we were just discussing is that it seems like people always have some kind of challenge, obstacle, and or what we call excuse as to why now is not the right time to take that action.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And being in the health and wellness industry now for both of us over 25 years, we've had a lot of consultations and we've heard pretty much every excuse or barrier to why somebody would choose not to take action. And in fact, before we go down that road, we used to always give the example in a lot of our lectures, like if we had a crystal ball and we knew that you were going to live to be, let's say 97 years old, when should you start taking care of yourself? At 96, at 95, at 94? The answer is right now.
Or 20 years ago.
Yeah,
right?
which is the best time to plant a tree. The second best time is right now. So I think that really is the biggest problem that you have to overcome is what really is the barrier? What is the thing that you keep telling yourself, by the way, that isn't true, that's keeping you from taking action and getting a result? Because successful people, what they all have in common, whatever it is their threshold is very, very low before they take action. So they don't need more information. They don't need more research. Their 3 kids has nothing to do with the fact that they're going to take action to be their best selves, because them being at their best is their highest value. And it's super, super important. So I think a lot of us aren't taking action because we've created such a threshold that's so high that all the barriers that you'd have to overcome to get to the point where you say yes are all the lies you've believed that are telling you that you can't do it. And for every person, and I can't really attest to this with the kid thing, I know you could, but for every person that would say, hey, this isn't something I could do or commit to because I've got 3 young kids or I've got whatever going on, the same person that also would have had kids would have said, you know what, that's the reason that I have to do it, because I want to be healthy and be around for them. So really the barrier really should be your purpose and the reason why you would do it. If you're too busy to take care of your health and take action, really, what are you busy doing? Your priorities are way out of alignment. So it kind of reminds me of the cycle we were talking about that a lot of people fall into. It comes from the Greek mythology character Sisyphus. And Sisyphus was basically banished for all of eternity. And this is where this saying comes from, where the pushing the boulder uphill, right? We've all heard of that. So Sisyphus was banished to eternity to push the boulder uphill. And then the boulder now would fall back on top of him and crush him. And then he would repeat that cycle for all of eternity. If you can imagine pushing a boulder uphill, it falls back on top of you. Instead of pivoting and making a different decision or a different maneuver, you have to do that over and over and over and over for the rest of your life. And although that's Greek mythology, that's called the Sisyphean cycle, because this is the pattern in the cycle we see so many people fall into, where you keep doing the same thing over and over and over. You're not asking the right questions. You're obviously not getting the result that you want. And you're in horrible pain over here in this place where you're not making the change, but that really is your comfort zone of where you're comfortable. Although it's painful, that's where you fall back to, versus the pain of going, you know what? I want to change my life. I want to do something different. I want to take action. I don't need more data. I don't need more information. Data and actually getting results a lot of times aren't even synonymous. What are you willing to do? Do you really want to turn your life around? So with that being said, that Sisyphean cycle, that's not just Greek mythology. That seems rampant now in our communities.
Yeah. And here's what I'll say to that is, because I know firsthand, for me, I had to wait until it got so bad and I was in so much pain that I couldn't walk. And for me, it really wasn't about, at that point, it wasn't about losing the weight. It was about walking, right?
Totally.
And so what I knew is I had to do something different. So you had to do the unfamiliar. It's amazing how pain is a great motivator to do something different that you would not ordinarily do, right? Ask anybody who's broke, right? You know what? I'm willing to actually go get a job now because I don't have any money to be able to make my house payment, my car payment, or whatever. That pain has got to be greater for some people. Here's the good news is you don't have to wait until the boulder rolls over you to have that pain, we have solutions to be able to help you through that right now. So you don't have to go through that, right?
Totally.
So that pain serves now a great purpose to be able to help people to not ever get to that point. Don't let yourself get to that point. And unfortunately, for a lot of people, and here's what we know, and Tony Robbins talks about it all the time, right? People are motivated by two things. They're motivated by pleasure, or they're motivated by the avoidance of pain, right?
Yep.
So most people would be, a higher percentage of people are more willing to avoid the pain or move away from the pain than people who want to move towards the pleasure.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy. So maybe you need to be able to create enough pain in your mind going, you know what? I don't like the way I look when I look in the mirror. I don't like the way I feel right now. I feel like shit. I don't feel good. I'm just not happy with where I'm at. So for some people, you have to create enough pain. And for others of you out there, you need to be kind to other people. And here's what I mean by being kind to other people. You know, caring or being empathetic is one thing, right? And empathetic, you go, yeah, I could maybe see where it is that you're coming from. But then I feel like a lot of people will say they're being empathetic or say they're feeling what's going on with somebody else, but then they'll sugarcoat the truth to the person they're having the conversation with. So maybe it's a friend of yours, a girlfriend or whoever that is like, I really want to lose some weight, but then they start going through all of the obstacles. Well, I've got kids, or I don't have time. I can't do this. I don't like this food.
I'm not rich like so-and-so, so I don't have the money to do what he or she is doing, right? I mean, all those barriers and obstacles that we say, and remember, every barrier and obstacle that you're verbalizing and articulating, the exact same situation existed in somebody else who took action and got the result.
Yeah. So if you're really going to be kind, go, you know what? You do need to do something about that, right? Don't let that other person off the hook. If you're truly going to be a friend, be truthful with that person and say, you know what, get off your ass and actually do something and take action. That's being kind.
Yeah. Speaking of pain, in fact, this happened to us yesterday. Remember, yesterday we had that call with that gentleman who owns that private equity firm, and he's moving billions of dollars with a B. It was like, oh my gosh, this guy was referred over to us. But that was his whole thing. He goes, you know, I'm what he was in like his early to mid 50s, 51. And he's like, you know what, I've got these successes. I mean, this guy is massively successful. He goes, but I'm, 30 pounds overweight. I feel stuck. And the real pain was not just the fact that he felt stuck currently. He was asking the questions. So I extrapolate this out and I think, what is this going to look like for me over the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? If I don't start making change immediately. So he told his main assistant who was on the phone with us, I need your help to find someone who can help guide me on this journey to turn this around, not 5 years from now, right freaking now. So the call was really fun because this was a guy who had enough leveraged pain in his life to go, I'm not going to throw up any more barriers that create a threshold that doesn't allow me to take action. Now, clearly this guy's he's somebody who takes action, which is why he has the success that he has. But I thought it was powerful because a lot of times when you have a lot of success in one area of your life, you become a know-it-all. When you think, well, now I know everything about everything. It's kind of like in our current healthcare system. I always use that term very loosely. It's really a sick care system. It doesn't create healthy people. Clearly, the data shows that. But a lot of times you think, well, I guess because my doctor is somebody I've gone to for 20, 30, 40 years, they must know everything about everything versus going, wait a second, maybe they're only trained to do certain things. Maybe I need to hire an expert who can really help me get where I want to go. And so I thought it was powerful for him to go, I feel the pain. I see the future. I don't want to be Sisyphus, where I'm rolling that boulder uphill and having it crush me over and over and over and staying comfortable in the pain that I know versus getting uncomfortable in the pain that I don't know. But then on the other side of that is where real change and success is there for me. And that's where it happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point.
Yeah.
So speaking of points, number 2.
Okay. Point 2.
You actually went into it.
Okay, let's go.
So number 2 is you want to get assessed, know where you're at. However, you want to be assessed by an expert, somebody who's been where it is that you've been, but has also been where you want to go.
Yeah.
And knows how to actually get there.
Yep.
Which is exactly why when like this guy, his assistant had been searching everywhere to find somebody that was going to help him to not just lose the weight. Said, I want to be healthy. I want to be healthier. Somebody who's going to be able to help me to do that was referred over to us. And he's like, these are the guys. She's like, yep, they're the guys. I've already researched them. I've looked everything up and let's go ahead and do this. And so the first thing that we're doing with him is assessing him so that we can show him exactly where it is that he's at, show him what his metabolic disruptor type is or what's disrupting his metabolism so that we now can be able to see how to be able to fix that, how to heal that, how to get his metabolism working, be able to get him exactly the specific foods that are going to be healing for his metabolism, show him how to be able to do that, which really goes to number 3. And then we can talk about these. Number 3 is then make sure that you have a plan, right? A plan of action or a blueprint that's going to take you to where it is that you want to go. Because without the blueprint, without the roadmap, you can never get to where it is that you're wanting to go. And so with that being said, that's exactly what it is that we do to help people and why it is that we get the success that we do, why it is that we have people sending people over to us, I was on the phone with a doctor earlier today and he's like, you know what? I want to know how to help more of my patients doing what it is that you guys are doing. How can I be able to offer that in my office? Because you know what? People know that we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, there's just so much evidence now at this point with what we know, the people we've worked with, the thousands and thousands of lives we've been able and had the privilege of impacting, really, and we tell people this a lot, at least I know I do. I don't want to co-sign this for you, but I tell people we are your future because we were there where you are right now.
Yeah.
And we already know what it takes to get where we are today. So we already are your future. We can predict your future, good, bad, and ugly. We know what to do. We have been there and we've made the changes and seen the results that have happened for us. And we've taken a lot of people with us. So if you feel stuck, if it feels overwhelming, it's step at a time. Number 1, be willing to do whatever it takes to get what you want. Number 1. Number 2, stop guessing, stop asking what's the best protein powder I should be taking, or, what's the best supplement to burn fat. Start asking, how do I get healthy? How do I get my metabolism right? And everything else is going to now get better in your life. So start looking at things specifically for you because nobody's the same. And then obviously by hiring the expert and trusting the plan and following the plan, that step-by-step method of just taking it day by day. You can't eat the elephant all today, but you can eat that thing a bite at a time. From a great man, Dr. I call him Dr. Harold Johns, my late father, who said, yeah, life can be overwhelming, but don't have to eat the elephant all today, eat it a bite at a time. But if you're on the right plan, you're on the right track, you have the commitment, you've hired the expert, and you've actually looked at your specific needs and what's going to be specific to you, results happen very, very quickly. And that's one of the things we kind of hang our hat on is seeing really quick wins for people who really start dialing in exactly what they need to get exactly where they want to be. Getting from point A to point B can be a challenge. You can jump into a Pinto, if anybody remembers those cars, and you can try to navigate that with this paper map you're out unfolding, or you can jump in our jet and go quickly with us from point A to point B. I would suggest getting there quickly, efficiently, and successfully is always the best strategy.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Here's one of the things that you'll learn about us whenever you're around us is we practice what it is that we preach. We put our money where our mouth is. This past weekend, I happened to be in Tulum, and I was telling Randy that one of the reasons I go down there is to see this guy. His name is Danny, and he's an expert when it comes to functional movement. And anybody that knows me and knows the issues that I've had with my lower back, had 2 back surgeries a couple of years ago. And Danny's really helped me. And I'm happy to go all the way to Mexico, to Tulum, Mexico. It's beautiful too.
Yeah,
and work with him.
Is.
And so he does this type of functional movement using inversion therapy. But even before we got into that, what's the first thing that he did? He assessed me.
He assessed you, right?
He assessed me. He looked.
Everybody's unique.
Looked at my whole entire body. And when we were talking about this, he's like, yeah, we're going to take a look at the whole body. We're going to see where you're strong. We're going to see where you're weak. We're going to see where you need the most work. He goes, one of the mistakes that people make, especially when they first meet me, is they ask me, hey, what exercise do I need to do? He's like, I don't freaking know, right? Because
Yeah.
I need to first assess you, right? So he assessed me, did all the things. I'm like, all right, just what do we got to do? We did it. Even before we even got to the inversion, we had to do like 45 minutes of just prep work, just breathing into the areas of the weakness, the strengths in my body, be able to figure out where they're at before we got to the inversion. Once we got to the inversion, then he knew, okay, here's what we need to do. Here's what we need to go, where we need to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I was happy to pay him a lot to be able to work with him. Right.
Yes.
So that was, for me, guess what? The pain of going back to the pain that I was in before was a motivating factor, because I want to be not just able to survive. I want to be thriving, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Thriving through it. And so it did that. And the cool thing is the next day was the first day that not only did I not wake up with any type of back pain, but the entire day had nothing. I didn't even notice it until I was like literally walking down the beach and going, whoa, I don't have any pain right now. First time in 13 years.
Wow.
Why? Because there was no obstacles. There's never been an obstacle for me to be able to figure out how to make sure that my body's working at 100%. So it really didn't matter what I had to do. And I know Danny is an expert. He knows what it is that he's doing. So I trust him because of that.
No doubt. And I think that kind of goes back to probably the two biggest lies or the barriers that people will say to themselves that keeps them from taking action is what you just said, time and money, which is crazy, because do you really ever save time and money when you don't correct a problem? Because problems don't just sit there and manifest, they get better or they get worse. So if you're overweight now, if you're unhealthy now, if you're on medication now, if you're inflamed now, if you don't sleep well, poor energy, you don't feel like yourself, that isn't getting better, and you're not saving money. In fact, it's going to cost you way more money to treat it on the back end. And those aren't even real solutions. If it's, as they would say, oral therapy, which means they're going to drug you to death, or you're facing surgeries or addiction to pain medication. So you never save the time. You never save the money. You want to invest your time and you want to invest your money in the things that matter most. And your health is your number one investment. It's your greatest asset. And it'll never be the thing you'll look back and go, you know what? I really regret taking great care of myself, investing time and money, and making sure that I was thriving and living my happiest, healthiest life. Give yourself permission to take great care of you. You deserve it. You matter. And don't let those lies keep you from taking action, because I can tell you right now, we've done it long enough to know the people we've worked with and for ourselves personally. Wow, it feels really, really great to know that we're in charge of our health. We're taking action steps daily. We're holding each other accountable. And in fact, I think that's part of one of our successes is getting around like-minded people who really love and support you and that are actually rooting for you. Rob, I root for you. I know you root for me. I know you hold me accountable and vice versa. Make sure that your circle are full of people that are really rooting for you and that want your best, and vice versa.
100%. And so that shout out to Danny, because I know people are going to hit me up and be like, oh, who's this dude? Well, Danny, you can find him on the gram at hustle_and_flow fitness, hustle and flow fitness. Shout out to Danny. Thank you so much for helping me. With that being said, you have your steps, right?
Yeah.
So you got to know where you're at. First, you got to change your mind so that you take action, right?
Yes.
Have a mindset of taking action.
Break the Sisyphean cycle.
Break that cycle.
Yep.
Then you got to make sure you know where you're at, get an expert to help you get to where it is that you want to go. Last but not least, make sure that you have a plan, a blueprint. So even after my session with Danny, emailed me, hey, here's the things that you need to be working on till I see you again the next time. So I've got my plan. I'm ready to go. So I know I'm not doing it alone. We never are, right? And so you're not alone either. So like it, share the podcast.
Hey, and really quickly
others.
too. Yeah, really quickly. So if you're just listening or tuning into us for the first time, and I thought the word late stage cancer, you're like, whoa, what are you talking about? Even go back and listen to our pilot episode on really how cancer is a metabolic condition and that getting healthy isn't about losing weight. Get healthy, lose weight, optimize your metabolism. It goes a long way. So yeah, not to interrupt. Yes. Also, we welcome any questions that you have. Where should I probably send those, Dr. Rob? But they have questions or anything we should comment on.
DM us on the gram at the H2 Life.
The H2 Life on
The-
Instagram.
The number the number 2 life on Instagram.
Give us that 5-star review. We appreciate you guys.
Have a great day.
All right, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. If you enjoy the show, make sure to follow them on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at The Happy Healthy Guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts.